Morning YouTubers. In this video you're going to see how I convert this horrible old sleeper that's been sat in my garden for a while to this beautiful bench with hardly any tools. Hold tight. So there's been a sleeper in my garden for 2 years and I've been looking at it, so I decided to make a nice little bench. So here you can see me measuring out for the legs. So I'm going to split this sleeper, cut the legs around about 400 millimeters and attach them to the sides. So using my beautiful Makita circular saw, battery powered 18 volt, amazing. I'm going to cut the sleeper. I think the blade is 110, so you have to work your way around with it, as you can see I'm doing in the video, and then we'll progress on to the next stage of planning how we attach the legs to the actual bench. So I'm using my trusty Bosch planer set on about 3mm cut to just square up the ends, because when you cut with the jigsaw and you're working your way round, no matter how hard you mark it, you'll never get it perfect. So I'm just using the planer to straighten the edge, as you can see, where it's not cut it equally. And then I will use the planer later on to just take the top edge off of the sleeper, because it's been out for 2 years out in the open, so it's gone a bit green. So I'll then be able to plane it off, and then I'll use my orbital sander to bring it back to beautiful naked wood. So I'm using my clamps now to clamp the 2 feet together, and then again I'm squaring those off. I made a mistake with this part because I should have used the clean edge on both sides of the sleeper, but I used a pre-cut edge. It had been cut 2 years ago, so technically I put the legs on one of them upside down, but it adds to the beauty of it now. I quite like it. So I'm now connecting the legs to the actual body of the bench. So I'm going to glue and screw it. So initially I'm going to use the spade bit, I think it's about 12mm, 30mm, and drill the holes. Then I'm putting some bolts in, which will be 120 external grade bolts. These are them, they're lovely. And that will secure it with the glue and those 2 screws. I'll be able to hide it and then dowel it. So you'll see me gluing a dowel in to save using filler. And it will look, you'll just see the dowels, which adds to the beauty of the finished bench. So I'm using, it's 28mm actually, hole, so I'm using 28mm dowel. Got this from Wix, I think. So I'll put the coach screws into the legs, and then that will hide, the dowels will hide the hole. And you will just see a sort of different coloured textured wood, which you'll see at the end of the video. And then I am gluing both sides, because one side's end grained, and then screwing with the 120mm coach bolts. So I'm using a socket and a socket adapter with my impact driver, as you can see here, to screw the bolts into the bench. So back to the planer. So now the legs are now assembled and connected to the bench seat. I'm now planing off, got it on a very sort of 2mm setting, and just planing off what we call the silvering. When pressure treated wood is left outside for a while, it silvers, and that's when it's ready for stain or paint or whatever you want to do. You'd never want to paint pressure treated wood straight away. So this had silvered and it would be ready for paint with a very light sand, but I took it off back to bare wood again so that I can use the teak oil, which I'll show you later in the video. So I'm now using the 28mm dowels and gluing them in with my Gorilla Glue, not glue. So using the Gorilla Glue, I'm going to put the dowels in. I'm going to put them in slightly over length, cut them back and sand them for a seamless finish. Hello YouTubers, it's Sunday the 24th of March. I'm just going to give this nice looking bench now a sand with the big sander. I'll get that out now, hold tight. So starting off the sanding with my belt sander, because this is the most powerful, to take that edge off a little bit more. And here you can see me using my, I've forgotten what it's called, but it takes off, it cleans up your sandpaper. I'll find out and let you know. It's called Sanding Block Cleaner. Links in the description below. So onto the orbital sander now. I'm going to sand this over, sweep it off in between, starting off on 180 grit, and then we'll be down to 120 grit on the orbital. So using my orbital sander with a 120 grit, I'm sanding the bench over. So I finish off the sanding with the 180 grit, and then it will be ready for the T-core, the lovely bit. I love this bit. Got to be stained now, and she'll be done. Beautiful. That's how to use up an old sleeper. T-core time. My favourite bit. So I apply the T-core with a brush, and then wipe off any excess after 20 minutes, and I put 3 or 4 coats on this, waiting for it to dry in between, and then you get that nice glossy wet finish. And here it is in its final resting place, all done, all T-coiled up. It looks beautiful. T-coil's great because all you have to do once a year or twice a year is a very light sand back, and then apply the T-coil, let it dry indoors and put it back out, and that's it. And it just oils it and protects it. I love T-coil. I use it on lots of stuff, and it's very easy to apply with a brush as I've instructed. Hold tight. Link in the description below for the belt sanding cleaner. Look out for more of my videos. Hold tight.